Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Noam Vander. I'm the CISO of Atera, and I'm joined today by Johnny Fishbein from Checkpoint and Mike Patronesi from CrowdStrike to discuss how AI is transforming the technology landscape, presenting new opportunities and new threats, and how we as security leaders are preparing for this new era. First, Johnny, can you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your cybersecurity journey?
Yeah, thank you, Noam. Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Atera, for inviting me to this exciting session. Johnny Fishburne have been in this cybersecurity interesting journey for 30 years. Started in financials, building SOC before the year 2000. And in the last 23 years, I have been part of the Checkpoint team. And recently, since 2019, I have been the Checkpoint CISO and DPO. So during COVID and many other supply chain and Log4j challenges. And in the last year and a half, I am leading activities with our global field CISO organization, helping our customers around the world.
Great, thank you. Mike, can you introduce yourself as well for our audience?
Yes, thanks, Noam. Great to be here. And thank you to Atera. And I'm looking forward to a great conversation. Great topic, very near and dear to my heart. I currently am CTO of Proactive Security at CrowdStrike, which means I lead innovation around a number of our areas, including AI. But I've been in Defender, basically, or building systems for defenders my whole career, starting in the national security space and building even kinetic systems. And now very excited, I spent the last decade focused on cyber with a number of great startups, and now I get to work with customers at CrowdStrike to solve a lot of these problems around AI and security.
Wow, that's impressive. You're definitely the right people to talk about AI security. So let's start with a high-level question. What, in your mind, is the single most significant impact AI is having on the cybersecurity landscape today?
First of all, AI, it's not big, it's huge. And not that just huge as an event, it's huge in scale. It's huge for defenders. Defenders can do their daily work much more rapidly. Developers can develop much more rapidly, much more efficient. But every time there is a new shift, a new change, a big event, we see the adversaries, the hackers, taking advantage, and we are seeing this. One example is deepfake. Other is a massive phishing campaigns, scaling and being sophisticated by AI. And these are just two examples, and also the concern of massive DLP. We just heard 2 weeks ago one of the largest entertaining companies around the world suffer a massive DLP event because of a third-party AI not sanctioned application. This is just a few examples.
Yeah, I have to double down on that, Johnny, because it's not like having an impact today. We're like in the post-AI era, right? Like it's going to have an impact on everything, including government, business, education, across the board. We really look at it in kind of three vectors. One is it's affecting right now, as Johnny said, like communications, right? Like it's really affecting the ability to kind of trust what you're seeing in communications and things like that. The other side, is kind of automation, and that's good for productivity, but very, very bad if the productivity is used against you, right? And so we'll happily dive into that in a little. And the final area is really like there's new systems that people are building, and it changes the way we build. So cloud and application security, people are using and basically embedding black box technologies into their systems. So the securing their workforce and securing the AI being built is a big imperative that we see a lot of people trying to solve with us.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. So what do you think today? Is AI helping the attackers more than the defenders, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I would have to say the attackers have the advantage. And they haven't even really started yet to deploy the capabilities, right? And so I think that's kind of why we all here, because we all need to accelerate the adoption on the defense, and everybody wants to, right? I mean, security is traditionally seen as a no function inside of business, right? Like you take away all the cool toys and do everything, but security is one of the most engaged here, right? And in terms of adoption, but we have to do it right, you know. And I think that's the tricky part is walking that fine line of adopting new technologies like AI safely without, you know, regretting it.
Allow me to add, good comment, Mike, but I would like to emphasize that for me, security is like, it's like a dam. When we have all the water, all the data, this data lake, and being kind of contained. And as soon as we start connecting AI, Copilot, and talking with ChatGPT and few other LLMs, is like the dam is open, is breached, and it's not by mistake. It's by intention, by our users that they want to allow the business, this digital modernization, to run more quickly. Many times we do mistakes naively, but as soon as we start blocking this kind of cool feature or cool technology, we actually invite shadow IT. So, in my opinion, we are struggling to protect the AI journey, but for sure we will see very interesting attacks because in every time in technology, every time there was cloud security, people run to the cloud and then ask questions, and we see how to secure and how to close and how to decrease the risk. That's why there are so many CISOs out there so challenged.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think there's really a challenge, specifically even think data loss, right? Like before you lose the data, it's gone once. Now you lose the data, it's part of the AI. It's gone forever, right? And now it's going to be a very, very risky situation. So a lot of challenges there, and you have to be careful, what vendors you work with and make sure they understand your needs.
Definitely. I think also, attackers, they have a building starting advantage in these situations. They have to, throw in the first punch, come in with a new attack, and then we go, okay, here's how we can protect from that type of attack. So currently they're in that state. But, AI is definitely turbocharging both sides at the moment. So, Johnny, can you share maybe a recent example, good or bad, where AI, tipped the scales in an attack or defense scenario?
Sure. Well, no, I have an example. Like we, in our internal SOC in Checkpoint, we have hundreds of alerts, maybe 100 plus alerts per day. So imagine how much time takes a SOC analyst to do triage, to understand if there is need of escalation or it's okay, it's non-issue, or it's a false positive. It takes from many dozens of minutes, maybe 30 minutes, an average of an interesting alert. So I can tell you that we are managing to decrease the time to decision of this triage and investigation by SOC to less than within minutes, maybe less, an average less than 8 to 6 minutes. I think this is very, very interesting. And of course, we are trying to develop tools, security tools that will allow practitioners to get to a verdict much, much faster, correlating information from various locations, doing what we call data enrichment. So for sure, this is a very good example how security for AI or AI for security.
Yeah, definitely. AI is impacting heavily on incident response for the defender side. And there are really great implementations of AI that can be done. What kind of AI-based attacks, Mike, are you most concerned about? Is it, around social engineering, which is what we're seeing usually? Is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, currently, I'd say if you talk today, absolutely, social engineering is a major where it's already kind of causing impact. We've seen actors we call, famous Chalima, which is a North Korean-based actor, basically infiltrating the employee supply chain, the human resources side of businesses. And that's problematic for two reasons. It's a soft target. Like there's no good ways that exist, technical ways to stop it. And so we're having to invent new things, which I'll talk about in a second. But also once they're in, that's like a very persistent insider threat. Or it looks like an insider threat, but it's an implanted person, right? And so, for example, it's not all hopeless, right? Like the attackers still use techniques that can be discovered. Like we find the laptop farms that exist to host a lot of this scaled activity, and so that is absolutely the current worry. The thing we're really worried about in the future is similar to Johnny said around the overworked and overloaded security teams and the human side. We just think we're kind of almost already past the ability for humans to be in the actual real-time loop, right? And so we're trying to imagine, like, what does security look like beyond that? Because even last year, we saw a tremendous acceleration in attacks speed. We study breakout time, time from like initial access to an objective, and we saw 51 seconds. And why that's tremendous is because we've been preaching 1-10-60, and that means 1 minute to detect, 6 minutes, 10 minutes to kind of come up with a plan, and 60 minutes to contain. But those are all minutes, right? And so if they can achieve objectives in sub 1 minute, and you haven't even detected it yet, you no longer can use and rely on your humans to solve that problem, right? And so if that becomes the norm, it was an outlier, but we did observe it. If that becomes the norm, that next level of AI automation is what mainly concerns us. So.
Yeah, so that sounds like, if you would have said these things like 2 or 3 years ago, that would sound like science fiction, but this is reality now.
Exactly. I mean, I would have a hard time believing myself. But those words are not only coming out of our mouth; they're coming out of like everyone who's been experiencing it, right? And so we can't be caught off guard, right? We have to be proactive and start evolving now, or else really like the global economy will have to pay.
Definitely. So really on that note, both of you are coming from top tier powerhouse security vendors, CrowdStrike and Checkpoint. Have you started developing AI-specific security tools for customers or tools to protect against AI threats? What kind of capabilities are you focusing on?
So I will mention two of them. There are many of them, but we'll just mention two of them. The first one we started around maybe 9 years ago. We have on our IPS system and with our zero-day validation sandboxing systems, we have engines that they have signatures. But about 9 years ago, we started developing systems that they will emulate and they will use knowledge and understanding of a specific situation to decide if the file is okay or not okay. Or for instance, to do enrichment on the fly. They take the file, they do enrichment, they do multiple checks. And this is not based on signatures. This is based on some facts that they get 1 + 1 = 3, meaning they can decide if the file is benign or malicious. This is one example. We have nowadays in our threat cloud, which is our threat indicators cloud, we have about 55% AI engines. So already more than 50% of the engines that they dictate if the IOCs are okay or not okay, and etc., are already using AI. So this is one side. And the other side is we developed what we call Checkpoint Copilot. We launched it about 1 year ago, which is basically it's a prompt in the management interface of Checkpoint. It's in our SaaS platform, which basically any admin or analyst can prompt and can ask questions. So let's say, good morning, Checkpoint. What is the latest CV? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, am I protected against that CV? And in few seconds, the prompt will give very good answers, and then you will understand if you are protected or not. This kind of activity will take you minutes versus hours of trying to understand if you are protected or not protected and mitigate. So these are very two good examples in the indicator side on the threat cloud engines. And on the second one is a prompt to make the management of the user interface much more intuitive to the end user.
Wow, that's really impressive. Mike, what's going on CrowdStrike?
Yeah, very similar focus. We're really looking across the platform in terms of where we can leverage AI the most. And I'd say we kind of have made significant foundational investments, right, in terms of it. And when you think about it, what we really want to be in the future is the data platform that allows people to experiment and build and deploy security AI on their behalf. We started by releasing something called Charlotte. And so Charlotte is our AI assistant and agentic AI capability. We started to kind of dog food the use cases and make sure, so even our Falcon Complete team, which is our MDR service, has been using it for a long time. And now we've been able to release that to customers so that they can do an alert triage at 98% alignment with what a human would do, but it would do it in, less than 1 second, right? Instead of, what the usual time takes. And it'll also help with the automated investigation. We just released agentic response. We also released agentic workflows. So you can build all those automations already on the CrowdStrike platform. And the future we're really excited about is we're going to, over the next couple of months, allow people to start building the customized version of those, right? So, false positive is not one size fits all. Regulations, response strategies are not one size fits all. And so we see like this demand for everyone not only building custom use cases, but extending the things that we build from a security best practice point of view to their enterprise. If you're based in, Europe, or you have this specific type of team, you need to customize. So we're allowing our users to build and deploy their own agents using the CrowdStrike frameworks to kind of guarantee the privacy, the safety, but remove the complexity, right? The complexity is the enemy. Not everybody, I don't know, you guys are both security leaders. How many data scientists are in each of your teams? Well, maybe Checkpoint has too many than average, but not everybody has data scientists in their team, right? And so we need to remove some of that so that people can get the value, the outcome, without having to invest in kind of the low-level engineering, mostly, and in terms of application. So very, very focused on labor, but on also securing AI, which we can talk about later.
Wow, that's very impressive, really, from both of you. I think it's encouraging to see, the industry proactively building defenses and showing a direct response.
No, very good comment. But Mike, a question: is Charlotte a real name, or is just a fiction?
Charlotte is our brand name. Marketing says it's an it, but there'll be lots of faces of Charlotte over the times. But really, it's just the brand name for agentic capabilities.
Great name.
I can't take credit. I'm not the marketing genius, but yeah.
Okay, sorry, Noam. Please go ahead.
No problem. I agree. It is a great name. I said it's really encouraging to see these companies evolve AI security tools right now. At the end of the day, as security professionals, these products and abilities will be our main defense. So it's great to see you guys already at the forefront, of AI security. At Atera, we have done a lot around safe and secure implementation of AI within our products. Really made sure it will work just as we intend to and be secure. What does AI integration on the product level looks like, at Checkpoint, Johnny? How do you make sure it is secure?
So first of all, in general, supply chain, SDLC or SDDLC, and it's a challenge by itself. Now, there are best practices, there are ways how to do it. Allowing developers to use AI puts another level of challenge. And not only that, allowing research applications to interact with third-party AIs on the fly, it even increased another one. So we are implementing some tools that are in-house. We are also working with very large cloud providers, public cloud providers, all of them, to make sure that the data we share with them, doesn't go to third parties. This is not just vetted on a conversation. This is vetted on a legal level and on a license agreement conversation. So it's not, when you use something that is free, don't be surprised that the data that you have been sharing will go to a third party, because there are no free meals in life. Okay. And the last topic I want to discuss is frameworks. I don't say we are the best and we do everything correct. It's very important to adopt frameworks. Some frameworks are evolving, some frameworks are very, very new. But basically, is if we align to the best practices on the industry is key. And the other topic is who is securing my LLMs. For instance, we have an LLM that you can interact, you can prompt to it. So we need to secure it. So we have an amazing WAF solution that is doing AI. So now instead of doing just sophisticated IPS, it's also doing WAF for LLMs, for prompts. So it's the opposite than DLP. DLP will look on the data going out to third party like ChatGPT, BART, and Claude and DeepSeek, or can block DeepSeek. But on the other side, if I have an LLM, I can, with our WAF, we can stop DDoS on LLMs, we can stop AI injection or poisoning or LLM poisoning. These are few of the scenarios that we are doing. And we are doing some surprises with NVIDIA on to come in the upcoming months. We are going to integrate our code inside the NVIDIA chipset. So if you want in the future to buy NVIDIA chipsets, you will be able to choose, I want checkpoint inside for extra security, or you can ask for the vanilla, which will be the regular one.
That's very, very impressive. So let's shift a bit to real life usage of AI. Mike, where are you seeing the biggest AI adoption today in your company? What risks does that introduce?
Yeah, we began this experiment. George Kurtz is a big believer, in terms of AI transforming not only, companies, every company, but like a tech company. So we kind of decided to disrupt ourselves first from the inside. And so, we're definitely using it across developers. We're definitely using it across sales and marketing and customer service, but we're also using it in unexpected places. Like one of the most, I'd say, exciting places we've been able to use it is in our legal and compliance. And there's just so much advantage to using something that can unlock and make sense of large amounts of text. And that's been a part of companies that have death by documentation for a very long time. And so, our legal team is actually one of the biggest innovators in terms of dogfooding our tools, beyond security and things that would be obvious at CrowdStrike. So, beyond that, I think there's just a ton of people that are getting to build those types of use cases and kind of embracing automation, and bringing that kind of power of unlocking data. I think the thing we've talked about a lot with other AI partners like NVIDIA is about unlocking the data flywheels from wherever we can, right? And so CrowdStrike has been sitting on so much expertise and data for a very long time, and the concept of threat intelligence and like giving it out in indicators or even patterns is good, but like AI allows us to kind of inject it in real time in so many places that we didn't think about. And so clearly our biggest source of adoption innovation is in our managed services and defending not only ourselves but our customers. And so we've been able to reach incredible levels of scale, and kind of we're starting to see the patterns change. People start to move towards managing agents instead of managing people, and very early, obviously, like lots more to do, and before we can completely hand the wheel over. But I don't even really think we will, because AI is not accountable. And I think you'll never have a humanless experience across security because of accountability and because of the unknown unknowns, right? Like you have to have someone accountable for your company, your mission, that pushes the button or makes the decision.
Yeah, definitely. Johnny, what do you think?
I like two words in our industry, and they are very, very tied together. One is it's trust, and the other one is accountability. I think that AI can build a little bit of trust, but AI is not accountable anything. Like I have never. Well, we will see what happens, but I don't see any AI taking responsibility of their recommendations or suggestions, etc. It's in a learning mode all the time. And it's not perfect. We have seen many AI cases that you can fool the AI, but definitely I have seen employees trying to use AI. I have seen developers trying, proving us that they can be more efficient, more accurate using AI. And we as managers, as leaders in organizations, we need to allow them to use AI in a secure manner. Said that, it's very easy to lose control. By the way, we do not need to control everything all the time. We just need visibility. We need policies. We need tools that allow us to say, okay, this is not okay or this is okay.
Definitely, I agree. The adoption of especially of external, AI SaaS tools was mind blowing. I mean, in a matter of few months, every employee had like 5, 6, 7 favorite AI tools. It introduced a new level of shadow IT, and definitely visibility is key here.
I completely agree on the SaaS. By the way, I see most of organizations, between 60 and 75%, if not more, of the IT projects, they go SaaS. And with AI, it's even stronger.
So, Mike, how has this, rapid AI revolution impacted your overall security strategy compared to even 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been big believers in. Can you hear me? Programmatic, using data once or collecting data once and using it as many times as possible programmatically. And so we've been building, towards like as much of an automated security platform as we could since day one. But I have to say, like the ChatGPT moment, and then a couple things we've seen in terms of NVIDIA's acceleration and scale of being able to deliver, levels of a scale that will honestly enable things that are close to AGI faster than anyone expected. Maybe not really AGI, but like approximately the value or the pain of AGI, depending on how you look at it. About a year ago, we started down a path of reinventing everything. We started with our data foundations and like how we deliver data, because we're looking at this thing that used to be a graph, and that was great for like human level fidelity, but the data is really the user interface to the real world for AI, right? And so we're taking data to be able to bring it to a scale and completeness so AI can make decisions without a human. We're taking big strides in being able to build the economics around inferencing inside of the platform, so that we can do event scale analysis with AI. And so that's a big one, because there's a saying inside of CrowdStrike from the early days, and I wasn't even here, but I hear it a lot from our architects, that we built the gold-plated plumbing and nobody really got the value of it until like a decade later. And so that bet paid off, and we're now building the gold-plated plumbing for AI, so we can swap in and out the best trusted technologies to benefit us and our customers, right? And so the speed at which Gen AI is evolving is exponential, and so we're preparing for the near future where it's going to be part of every workflow, even more important than the UI, right? Like is how you inject or embed or extend the product with AI. And so yeah, to say it's affected every single product group across the company is an understatement. It's in the DNA, starting with George and down to every single person in CrowdStrike.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense in today. So, Johnny, how are you preparing your organization and employees for the safe and responsible use of AI?
Great topic. After we adopted a security policy and we shared it to all of our employees, we invested on 2 levels. One level was a security awareness training. Employees will be doing from their onboarding or once a year. to show our customers and the industry that all our employees are compliant with AI policies and best practices. This is number one. Number two, we show visibility tools that basically allows IT and security internal managers to decide if this is good or bad usage of AI. If it's bad, we communicate with users for education and awareness. And if there is need, we also block. And we have also a violation policy that if people violate, it's like they violate security violation. So it's the same mechanism. And what is most important is to show and communicate within the organization.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of a mix of activities, which cover people, process, and technologies. Because sometimes, we tend to lean only on one aspect, often technology, bring tools, but here it's also very important to educate employees and build good processes around AI. So it's a great example of that scope.
Allow me to add that we use AI to develop the security awareness training on AI. So this is it's a good joke, but it's real.
Nice. Okay, so we've touched a little bit about this topic, but let's switch gears and talk about the future impact of AI on cybersecurity. Mike, looking ahead 3, 4, 5 years from now, what do you predict will be the most game-changing impact of AI on cybersecurity landscape?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk very near term. I think, very near term defensively, we're going to see a shift away from tasks-based work and kind of the toil of security towards needing, engineering inside of these security teams. And from like a perspective of even like process engineering is going to be maybe the most important skill. You think detection engineering and then the response engineering disciplines. And so instead of having to kind of write a run book that humans can drive in terms of incident response, we're going to have to be able to teach an agent to do that. The good news is they'll do it reliably and 24/7. The bad news is like it's different than talking to a human, right? It doesn't perform the same, so we'll need some new ways to observe and interact with that. And so that's the most important thing, from a defensive perspective. I think from an offensive perspective, I think it gets more terrifying, right? I mean, I think like when you look at like the geopolitical, I'd say, mess that we're in right now, I think that is going to be the kind of weapons that we see soon, right? So if you imagine like shadow brokers was the culmination of a couple of decades of cyber warfare without AI, just I'll let you use your imagination about, what could happen when AI is part of that. And so, shadow brokers was like a big event because it took, nation state cyber weapons and put them in the hands of everyone. I think that's a well-oiled machine now, right? And so the scarier part is, systems that you need to be able to defend themselves against something they haven't seen before. So like maybe, from switching back to defense, systems that can pen test themselves and heal themselves, right? Is kind of like a concept we're thinking about, just because, if AI can find the path of least resistance as well as a hands-on keyboard operator could today, how do you defend against that, right? So we're kind of like disrupting, what does even endpoint security look like in the future, when we know we're beyond signatures, we know we're beyond a lot of those capabilities that worked at one paradigm. We're looking forward to a new paradigm.
That was scary and hopeful together. Johnny, what's your prediction?
I'm usually optimistic, but on this case, I want to be optimistic, but it looks like very, very challenging, and I will explain. Before AI, we have hackers and group of hackers trying to penetrate our defenses. It can be on-prem, SaaS, it can be hybrid, and we have to be right 100% of the time. The attackers have to be successful maybe one time, maybe two times, but the odds are on their favor because we human beings do mistakes. Now, imagine that we human beings, we teach AI So AI is not perfect. Okay, some people will think it's perfect, but it's far from being perfect. It's still learning. And by the way, you can deceive AI if you want to trick it. And AI has the capability of scale and sophistication, meaning that we work 9, 10, 11 hours per day. AI works all the time. So you can give a challenge and they can work all the time and they never get tired. They have more CPU and more GPU. And at the end of the day, it's like a mathematical challenge. Okay, so if you think about the one time and the 99% of the time being correct, so now put scale and sophistication on this one, and you see that the bad guys will have the upper hand. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, that was just scary. Yeah, but you're right. You talked about the automation and the adaptability of AI. It's mainly due to agentic AI. I've seen how we at Atera have used agentic AI for a new autopilot feature. And when I think about the implementations of agentic AI into cybersecurity, I think it will completely change what we call cybersecurity. Adaptive networks, autonomous protections, the ability to make decisions at lightning speed. It's pretty much our AI against their AI. This is cybersecurity in the future. But it will be very interesting. Thank you, guys. I think it's clear that AI isn't tomorrow's challenge. It's today's reality reshaping cybersecurity. My key takeaway is that every organization, no matter size or industry, should really treat AI security as top priority, and you should integrate it into your roadmaps, your teams, your company culture today. I want to thank everyone who joined us, and a special thank to our guests for a really thought-provoking discussion. Up next, we have some very interesting workshops, so stay with us.
Thank you.